back, and thank you for staying with eNCA. Now, flights in the UK remain severely disrupted. This after Britain's National Air Force Traffic Service experienced a technical problem for several hours yesterday. While the issue has been fixed, disruptions are set to continue for some time still. Let's get the latest now from our UK correspondent, that's Julia Chapman. Julia, thank you very much for your time. I wonder how's it looking, particularly at an international airport like Heathrow at the moment. Is it still a backlog?
There is indeed, and Heathrow is the worst affected airport in the UK because of these disruptions that were caused yesterday by several hours of outage of the air traffic control system, meaning that controllers had to manually input flight plan data, something that happens much more slowly when it's done manually, and that meant that hundreds of flights had to be cancelled. Today there is a knock-on effect. We are seeing more than 300 flights across the country coming in and out of the UK cancelled today. Heathrow is still the worst affected, but London Gatwick Airport and Manchester Airport have also seen disruptions. There are hundreds of thousands of people who have found themselves stranded, both here in the UK and elsewhere, trying to get back here because of those disruptions on Monday. It was the end of the bank holiday weekend here in the UK, just before the school holidays end as well. So many families wrapping up their summer holidays, getting back for the new school year. And that has caused an enormous amount of disruption for many people.
So has this happened before, Julia? I'm just wondering, in South Africa, we do have delayed flights every now and then, but I just wonder, in your setting, has it happened before?
This was certainly unusual in its scale and length of time. The outage, we understand, lasted for about 4 hours on Monday. It was due to a technical fault, although the specifics haven't been revealed by air traffic controllers. There's going to be an investigation now to get to the bottom of what exactly it is that went wrong, although hacking and a cyber attack has been ruled out. But certainly for this length of time, it is unusual for there to be this kind of air traffic control disruption. Certainly there are delays, there are problems occasionally that are caused by various different issues with air traffic control, but a full outage of this scale is certainly unusual in the UK, and that is why it caused so much disruption, because we saw planes flying to different parts of the world, unable to get back to the UK, flights that had come here unable to leave. That has meant that there are planes now in all the wrong places, staff in the wrong places, as well as passengers. So getting things back up to speed to the regular service will take several days, according to the government, which says it is working closely with airlines to ensure that passengers are given all the compensation that they are entitled to.
And I mean, in South Africa, I know I keep comparing the two, but of course, you know, locally I've experienced that. And in South Africa, for instance, when there are flight delays, it has nothing to do with the South African air traffic control system. It's basically the different airlines that would normally be at fault, and then they would try to compensate their passengers by giving them their money back or, you know, giving them better seats, etc. But now in the UK setting, because it's a national, you know, government or organ of government issue, what's going to happen for those passengers who couldn't eventually make it to their destinations?
Well, the law says that even though it isn't the airlines who are at fault in this case, it is the airlines who have an obligation to their customers to compensate them accordingly. And what that means is if there is a significant delay over 12 hours or a cancellation, meaning that a passenger can't get back to where they are trying to fly to, it is incumbent on the airline to either provide a refund or an alternative route on a different airline. So that is something that is going to be happening in the hundreds of thousands, a huge disruption for the airlines themselves, many of which have apologized for the inconvenience. But as you say, it was air traffic control that was the source of this issue on Monday. There will likely be some sort of bid by the airlines to get compensation from air traffic control itself. But at the moment, under the law, it is incumbent on the airlines to compensate their passengers.
And just lastly, Julia, the Transport Secretary, Mark Harper, is rubbishing claims that it could be a cyber attack. Was there any notion that it could be?
There were certainly concerns that the length of time that this went on for indicated that there could be some sort of a cyber attack. That has now been ruled out. We understand from air traffic control experts that even though it was a long outage, there was a reasonably swift bounce back for the system to get back up and running yesterday afternoon. That signifies apparently that this was unlikely to be any kind of a hacking incident, more of a technical fault. But we simply don't know what the details of that are. There will be an investigation by the UK's Civil Aviation Authority, which always investigates whenever there is any kind of issue, no matter how small. But this one, of course, was not a small one. There will be questions asked about how this was able to happen. But of course, due to the manual switching, everything did still happen very safely, just much more slowly on Monday afternoon, resulting in all of these cancellations and delays.
Julia Chapman, our UK correspondent, thank you very much for that update, joining us there from the UK.